It started with construction paper and crayons. Ava sat at the dining table, legs swinging off her chair, her tiny fingers working with absolute seriousness as she drew little hearts and rainbows on each invitation. One for Grandma, one for Auntie Alana, one for Uncle Marcus. She even insisted on writing her cousin Brielle's name in her own shaky handwriting. "She's gonna love this one, Mommy," Ava said, holding up a crooked unicorn she'd drawn for her. My heart clenched, not in a painful way, but in that soft, aching place where love and hope live. It had been a hard year. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just to keep us afloat. Her dad hadn't been around in years. I didn't want her to notice the gaps. So I went all in for her 7th birthday, rented a little party room at the community center, booked a face painter, even saved for weeks to afford a visit from Queen Elsa, from Frozen. It was going to be magical. I sent the invites out early. I followed up with texts, then a group message. Everyone responded, "Of course we'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. Ava's big day." Even my mom, who barely shows up unless it's someone's funeral, said she'd come. So we got ready. The night before, Ava laid out her glittery dress and pink sneakers. I stayed up past midnight baking her rainbow cake, 5 layers, each one a different color, lopsided but full of love. The room was decorated with pastel streamers and balloons. Her favorite music playlist was ready to go. Saturday came. The day was perfect. Warm sun, a gentle breeze, just enough clouds to keep the heat down. The first kids arrived right on time, her classmates from school. Their parents waved at me kindly, handed me little wrapped presents, and smiled at Ava's delighted squeals. But I kept glancing at the clock. 2:15 p.m., no sign of family. 2:30 p.m., still nothing. 3:00 p.m., I started checking my phone. No missed calls, no texts, nothing. Ava kept checking the door every few minutes, her brows pinched like she was trying not to ask the question out loud. "Maybe Grandma's coming later," she said, trying to reassure herself. "Sometimes she gets lost, remember." I nodded, choking down the truth. At 3:30, Elsa arrived. Ava lit up, beaming as the princess knelt down and sang to her. For a while, she forgot. I was grateful for the distraction, but when it came time to cut the cake, she hesitated. Her eyes scanned the room again. I saw the moment it hit her, the truth settling behind her eyes like a storm cloud. She whispered, "I saved the biggest slice for Grandma." That broke me. I smiled, I held her tight, I told her it didn't matter, that everyone who loved her was here. But later, after the party ended and the kids were gone, she climbed into my lap and cried. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, baby," I said, holding her so tight I thought I might crush her. "You did everything right. This isn't about you." She fell asleep on my chest that night, clutching the unopened card she made for Auntie Alana. I stayed awake, scrolling through my phone, rereading their promises, "There will be there," messages. Not a single one of them had the decency to explain. Not a call, not even an excuse. I wanted to scream. But I couldn't. I had to be strong, for Ava, always for her. But in that quiet moment, I made a promise to myself. I would never beg to be loved again, not even by my own family. It had been a week since Ava's party, 7 full days of silence from my family, no apologies, no sorry we missed it, no explanation, just nothing. I tried to move on. I poured myself into work, into cleaning the house, into helping Ava with her reading assignments. Every time she mentioned her cousins or her grandma, I swallowed my bitterness like bad medicine. But on the 8th day, my phone buzzed with a notification from the family group chat. "Alana, my older sister, hey ye Red need a little help. Mom's in a tough spot again. Can we all chip in like $2, 100-3, 100 each. Jade, you're doing good these days, so maybe you can do a bit more. Like $600 or $700. Folded hands need to come up with $1, 850 total. No context, no how are you. Just a money request, like the party never happened." I stared at my phone, feeling heat rush up my neck. Was she serious? I checked the time. 6:14 p.m. Ava was brushing her teeth. The house was quiet, except for the hum of the bathroom fan. It gave me just enough space to let my anger simmer before I typed. "Me, hi. Before we talk money, Can I ask why none of you came to Ava's birthday? Read receipts popped up one by one. First Alana, then Nikki my cousin, then Mom, but no one responded, so I asked again. Me, everyone said they'd come. Ava cried herself to sleep. I just want to understand. Finally, a reply. Mom, Jade, don't start drama. We all had stuff going on. Life happens. Alana, OMG, are you really still mad about a kid's party? You act like we committed a crime. Nikki, seriously, girl, it's not that deep. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. My daughter sat in a party dress waiting for people who swore they loved her, and I'm being told to let it go. I felt my hands shaking. I typed slowly, deliberately. Me, no one called, no one explained. You left a 7. You're old heartbroken, but now you're comfortable asking me for money. Silence. Then Alana hit back. Alana, wow, we asked for help one time and you throw a tantrum. What happened to family sticking together? Mom, we always knew you thought you were better than the rest of us. There it was, that old, familiar weaponed guilt. They loved to act like I owed them something. Like working hard, being stable, making smart choices made me selfish. I didn't take the bait. Me, no. I'm just done being taken for granted. I won't be contributing. Especially not after how you all treated Ava. I left the group chat. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, the kind of quiet that settles over a battlefield right before the next strike. That night I tucked Ava in and kissed her forehead. Mommy, she asked sleepily, did you find out why they didn't come? I lied. Yeah, baby. They just couldn't make it. But it wasn't your fault, okay? She nodded, too tired to ask more. As she drifted off, I stared at the ceiling, fingers clenched into fists under the blanket. I knew my family. I knew this wasn't over, but what I didn't expect was how far they'd go to punish me for saying no. It happened on a Wednesday. I remember because I just finished folding the laundry when the doorbell rang. Ava was sitting on the couch, legs curled up, watching Encanto for the 100th time. She was humming "We Don't Talk About Bruno" under her breath. When I opened the front door, I froze. A police officer stood on my porch. He wasn't aggressive, if anything. He looked tired. Early 40s, short buzzed hair, the kind of face that's probably seen too many people on their worst days. His patrol car sat behind him at the curb, engine running. My heart dropped into my stomach. Ma'am, he said, glancing down at his notepad. Are you Jade Harris? Yes, I said, breath catching. Is something wrong? He shifted his weight, suddenly awkward. There was a report filed involving your name, financial dispute with family members. We just need to ask a few questions. May I come in? Ava peeked around the door, eyes wide. Go sit in the kitchen, sweetie. I told her, keeping my voice calm. I'll be there in a second. She obeyed, but not before giving the officer a curious glance. Once the door shut behind us, I led him to the front room. My hands were trembling. He opened a small notebook and cleared his throat. Your sister, Alana Harris, along with Nicole Wilson and Deborah Harris, contacted our office about a possible case of financial misconduct. They're claiming you accepted money for a family emergency fund and then refused to return it. Does that sound familiar? It felt like a punch to the gut. My mouth went dry. What? I never took a cent from anyone. They claim you agreed to cover a large portion of shared costs, around $1,800, and then ghosted them after they contributed their parts. I nearly laughed, but it came out as more of a bitter breath. I said no to their request. I have the messages. Would you mind showing them to me? I grabbed my phone and scrolled through the group chat. I showed him the entire thread, from the money request, to my response about Ava's party, to the moment I said I won't be contributing. He read them carefully, nodding slowly. This actually happens more often than you think, he said after a pause. Family disputes over money that spill into false reports. It's messy, but you're in the clear. You've got clear evidence. I exhaled, not relief exactly, but something close to it. A shaky, exhausted breath that felt years overdue. Are they going to be charged for filing a false report? I asked. He shook his head. Not likely, unless they push it. This was more of a welfare check under suspicion of fraud. But if they continue harassing you, keep documentation. Get a restraining order if necessary. He handed me a card with his name on it, Officer Malik R. Thompson, and a number I could call. I'm really sorry this happened, he said. And for what it's worth, your kid looks happy. You're doing a good job. That part almost made me cry. After he left, I locked the door, leaned against it, and let the weight of it all settle on me. My family, the people who were supposed to protect me, support me, love my child, had called the police on me. Not for something I did, but for saying no. For standing up for myself. For refusing to carry their burden after they didn't even care enough to show up for my daughter. It wasn't about money, it never was, it was about control, and for the first time, I realized something painful and powerful. They were never my support system. I was theirs, and now that I'd stopped playing that role, they'd turned on me. But what they didn't realize, not yet, was that this was the last time they'd ever have that power over me. They thought calling the cops was the final move. They had no idea what I was about to do next. For 2 days after the police visit, I didn't hear a word from them. No follow-up, no apology, not even another lie to cover the last one. I think they were waiting for me to come crawling back, the way I always used to play peacemaker, to keep the family together. But I didn't. I didn't even want to. Instead, I opened my laptop and wrote a post, not angry, not petty, just the truth. Mobile phone Facebook post, Jade Harris, October 3, 12 a.m. Last week, my daughter Ava turned 7. We threw her a small birthday party, something she'd been counting down to for weeks. I invited all of my immediate family. Everyone said they'd come. Not a single one of them showed up. No messages, no cancellations, no explanations. Ava waited by the door. She cried herself to sleep asking what she did wrong. A few days later, they asked me for $1,850. When I said no and reminded them what they did, they accused me of financial misconduct and sent the police to my home. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but for clarity, for anyone who's ever been made to feel guilty for drawing a line, for choosing peace over loyalty to pain. I didn't change, I just finally said enough, and I'm done apologizing for that. I hit post, at first nothing, a few likes, a heart emoji from a mom, friend from Ava's school, but by lunchtime my phone was buzzing nonstop. The comments poured in, good for you, family doesn't mean unconditional access. This broke my heart, tell Ava we're showing up for her. Some of my extended relatives, cousins I hadn't spoken to in years, messaged me privately. One wrote, I always wondered why you disappeared from family gatherings. Now I get it. Another said, I remember when they did something similar to me. You're not alone. And then, the best part, a neighbor knocked on my door that afternoon with a gift bag in hand. A little something for Ava. She smiled, from our daughter. She wanted her to have it. Inside was a handmade friendship bracelet and a card that read, You're magical. Happy birthday, Ava. Ava's eyes lit up. It's for me. Yep, I said. Because good people remember you even when others don't. That weekend, I hosted a tiny backyard picnic. Just Ava, 2 of her friends from school, and the neighbor's daughter. I laid out sandwiches, juice boxes, and dollar store cupcakes with too much frosting. No decorations, no fanfare, no performance, just laughter, just love. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't looking over my shoulder, bracing for a snide comment, a guilt trip, or a request disguised as checking in. I was free. A few days later, Alana texted, So you really just airing family business online like that? You're out of line, Jade. I stared at the message for a long moment before replying. No, I'm just not covering for you anymore. That's not betrayal, that's survival. Then I blocked her. One by one, I unfollowed, muted, and erased them from the spaces they used to occupy in my life. Not out of hate. Out of healing, let them gossip, let them twist the story, let them call me dramatic, selfish, ungrateful. I've learned something they haven't. Silence doesn't make you noble. It just makes you a shield for people who thrive off your silence. And I'm done being anyone's shield. Final scene, Ava and I sit outside under the stars that night. She's lying on a blanket in her pajamas, pointing up at the sky. That one looks like a cupcake, she says. I smile. You've got birthday on the brain. She grins and snuggles closer. This birthday was my favorite. I liked the quiet one better. And that's when I knew revenge didn't have to be loud. It didn't have to be cruel. It just had to be real. The sweetest revenge was this: peace, truth, and never needing them again.